So now we are going to make a eggless vanilla butter cake. Okay, so the ingredients I have here: butter, condensed milk, there's no sugar. The sweetness comes from condensed milk in this recipe, and there's curd and water. And now we have vanilla extract also. Now for the dry ingredients, we have the baking powder, baking soda, and all-purpose flour. Okay, so I'm going to sift the dry ingredients together. So I'm getting the bowl with a metal sieve on, and add the flour in, baking soda, baking powder, and sift it together. And set this aside until we have to use that. Okay, so now I'm going to get a stand mixer to fit the paddle. If you're using a handheld beater, you can use the the regular beater. Okay, to this I'm going to add butter, and the condensed milk, and beat that for 3 to 5 minutes. So the butter and the condensed milk have been beating. So it's going to look like this, scrape down fully. And to this I'm going to add the vanilla. So adding vanilla extract. To this I'm going to add the flour in 3 parts. Okay, so the first part of flour goes in, and after the first part of the flour, the curd will go in, and then the second part of the flour, and then water will go in, and then the third part of the flour. So here again we are going to divide the flour into 3 parts. So the first part of the flour, and I'm just going to mix it up. So the flour doesn't splatter out. I'm going to beat just until the flour incorporates. You can see it is just starting to turn beautiful. So that's how it's going to look after the addition of the first part of the flour. Okay, into this I'm going to add curd. Scrape down. I'm going to put that in and then beat until the curd gets incorporated fully. So now it looks like this after the curd. Okay, and to this, the second part of the flour. Leaving the third part aside. Mixing until the dry flour is just mixed up roughly. Now keeping it back and then beating until the flour is fully incorporated. Now at this stage I want to add the water. Instead of adding the water all at once, it's going to splatter out. I'm going to let the beater running and then add the water in a slow stream and allow the water to get incorporated fully. Now it's going to start to look like it is curdled. So don't worry about it. That is how it's going to be at this stage. Okay, so the stage where it's going to turn curdled and look like this. Just scrape down and add the flour. Last part, mix it up. And add it in and then beat well until the last part of the flour is fully incorporated. So now the batter is done. I'm just going to scrape the paddle, the beater. Just going to combine well, and that's the final texture of the batter you should just look at. A little bit of curdled texture that's going to remain, but the sponge is going to be really very beautiful. So don't be alarmed looking at this. And now I have two 6-inch pans prepared with butter, and then there's butter paper on top, and it's been floured well as well. Okay, and I'm going to transfer the batter, dividing it equally between both the pans. So make sure you are scraping your spatula in this bowl and not on this. Having the excess from the edge is not good because it's going to brown during baking. So scrape your excess in the bowl that you've prepared the batter and add the batter in the middle of the pan. Okay, so now I'm just going to spread it out evenly. Now I'm going to tap it to get rid of any bigger air bubbles, and this needs to go into the oven to get baked at 190 degrees Celsius. So eggless, do not bake at 160 because the videos are going to be, the lessons are going to be there and access is going to be there for everybody. So if you are going to take a look at the egg version, the recipe would say 160, but then when you are going to do eggless, just be very sure at 160 your eggless cakes are going to be fudgy. So it is very important to have it higher than 180 or 190. Okay, so 190 is what I'm going to keep this at, and bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the center of the cake comes out clean. Once you have the toothpick clean, take this out of the oven. Do not wait for browning because depending on different ovens, the browning is just going to be there. If the heat is going to come from the top or the bottom, there are other factors which determines the browning. So for us, the key is to have toothpick clean and then the cake is baked. So I'm going to put that into the oven to bake at 190 degrees Celsius for about 25-30 minutes, and when the toothpick comes out clean, I'm going to take it out and leave it on the wire rack to get cooled down for 15 minutes, after which I'm going to show you how to demold this from the pan and then cling wrap and store it to be used for the layered cakes. So the cake has been baked so beautifully, and I'm going to insert the toothpick into the center of the cake, coming out clean, and then you know that the cake has been baked. And now this has a lot of sugar on the condensed milk. You can see the beautiful golden brown on the top, and now this is quite hot. It's come out of the oven. I'm going to allow this to cool down 10 minutes, and then I'm going to transfer this directly onto a sheet of cling wrap, wrap it twice, and then keep it in the freezer to store and to be used for making the layered cakes again.